Philadelphia, you can feel it in the air, can't you? Something's boiling beneath the surface. A mix of anger, hope, and that feeling that this team still hasn't shown who they truly are. The potential is there, the talent is there, but the execution hasn't arrived yet. And that's why the moment is now. Tonight, under the lights, against a division rival, it's the game where the Eagle needs to spread its wings and remind the world what it means to wear green. But before we dive into this chaos called the season, hit that like button to support the channel and drop a comment below. I still believe. I want to know who's still standing with this team, even when things get tough. Because if there's one city that never backs down from a fight, it's Philadelphia. And this battle starts now. Go Eagles! Something's boiling beneath the surface in Philadelphia, and you can feel it. A mix of frustration, urgency, and belief that this team, the one built to win right now, hasn't shown who they really are yet. Because let's be honest, through 5 games, the Eagles have been living in that dangerous middle ground between potential and production. They're sitting at 12th in points per game, but 30th in yards per game, 29th in yards per play, and they haven't found a consistent offensive rhythm all season long. The big plays are missing, the run game has sputtered, and this team hasn't played a full 60-minute game of football yet. And yet, there's still that lingering sense that the storm hasn't hit, that the get-right game is coming, and it has to come this Thursday night against the New York Giants. When you look at the tape, the Eagles' offensive identity seems torn between what they want to be and what they've actually shown. The red zone efficiency, number 1 in the NFL at 92.3%. But the rest of the field? It's been disjointed. No flow, no feel, no balance. Offensive coordinator Kevin Patullo has taken most of the heat, and rightfully so. The man was internally promoted to a position that demands years of in-game experience, but Philadelphia took that gamble because the roster, top to bottom, screams Super Bowl contender. The problem? Play calling without rhythm, sequencing without logic. You can see flashes, great drives, clever designs, but it never carries over. One quarter looks sharp, the next completely falls apart. Against Denver, the Eagles had everything under control, up 17-3 in the second half, and then came the collapse. 18 points allowed in the fourth quarter, and not a single touchdown drive when it mattered most. That's not just execution. That's a team losing its pulse. When Saquon Barkley gets just 1 carry in the second half, that's malpractice. It's not who the Eagles are. It's not who they've ever been.
Philadelphia is supposed to be a bruising, balanced team built on the strength of its offensive line and the power of the ground game. Instead, they've been trying to pass their way out of trouble, compensating for frustration, for noise, for the need to keep certain stars happy. And the result? The numbers tell the story. 8th in rush attempts, 7th in rush percentage, but only 3.5 yards per carry, ranking 29th in the league. Under 100 yards per game on the ground. That's not Eagles football. And yet, this Thursday night could be the perfect storm for redemption. Because this Giants team, it's bad. Statistically, they're a mess. 28th in points per game, 19th in yards per game, 30th on third downs, dead last in red zone efficiency at 31.5%. And that's not just bad luck, that's bad coaching and bad execution. Their defensive line, led by Dexter Lawrence and Kayvon Thibodeau, is their only real bright spot. The rest of the defense? A liability. They're giving up nearly 400 yards per game, ranking 26th overall. Against the run, it's even uglier, 29th in yards per rush allowed at 5.3, surrendering 140 yards a game. If the Eagles can't rediscover their identity against this defense, then we've got a much bigger problem than just play calling. And speaking of that play calling, it's all about feel. The kind of instinct Vic Fangio shows on defense or Vance Joseph brings to Denver's scheme. Against the Eagles, Denver adjusted, man coverage in the first half got them burned, so they switched to zone in the second. That's the kind of in-game awareness Philadelphia's offense has lacked. Patullo's offense doesn't seem to anticipate the counterpunch. The Eagles have been great against man. Jalen Hurts has the best completion percentage in the NFL when defenses go man-to-man, over 76%. But against zone, it's like watching a different quarterback. Completion percentage drops to 63.8%, passer rating down to 84.6, near the bottom of the league. And it's not all on Hurts. Scheme beats zone, not individual talent. That's on coaching. That's on structure. And that's where this team's been lost. Still, there have been glimpses of what this offense can be. Those first 3 drives against Dallas in week 1, all touchdowns. Then the weather delay hit, rhythm disappeared, and it's been uneven ever since. The comeback win over the Rams, where Hurts looked like an MVP, that's the standard. That's what this offense looks like when it's confident, creative, and connected. Against Tampa, that first half showed flashes again. Kevin Patullo dug deep into the playbook, using designs that hadn't been called in years. The quads formation touchdown to Dallas Goedert? Perfect. The tush-push trick play to Saquon Barkley? Brilliant. But the second half? A total shutdown. Hurts didn't complete a single pass. No rhythm, no adjustments, just stagnation. That inconsistency bleeds into everything, from pre-snap penalties to wasted drives. 2 of 11 on third downs against Denver. False starts, illegal man downfield, players not set, wideouts quitting on routes. A.J. Brown stopped running on what should have been a 60-yard touchdown, a play they'd repped all week in practice. Jahan Dotson failed to get 2 feet down on a perfect throw by Hurts. Saquon's failure to set wiped out a huge 4th down conversion that could have changed the outcome entirely. Those aren't talent issues. Those are discipline issues. And when that kind of sloppiness piles up, it costs you games, like it did in Denver. Defensively, this team's been better than the numbers suggest. 16th in points per game, 9th on third downs, and one of the best red zone units in football, only allowing touchdowns 42% of the time. The problem isn't effort, it's exhaustion. When the offense keeps going 3 and out, the defense spends the whole 4th quarter gassed. That's what happened against the Broncos. You can't win games when your defense is dying on the field. Now, the challenge is clear. Get the offense right. Get the ground game rolling. Protect Jalen Hurts. And for the love of all that is green and white, stop the self-inflicted wounds. Because the matchup is there for the taking. The Giants' receiving core is a mess. Darius Slayton, Wan'Dale Robinson, Bo Collins, Gunnar Olszewski, Jalen Hyatt, that's their lineup. No Malik Neighbors, no real threat to stretch the field. This secondary should feast. Quinyon Mitchell, despite struggling against Cortland Sutton in the second half last week, has been outstanding overall. This is his chance to bounce back, to prove that was just a hiccup, not a pattern. And look, this game isn't just about stats. It's about pride. It's about identity. It's about showing that this team, this roster, this fan base, they're not going to let this season slip into mediocrity. Philadelphia has dominated the Giants for over a decade. This is the moment to remind the division, the league, and themselves who they really are. So, Eagles fans, what do you think? Is this finally the get-right game? Do you believe this offense finds its rhythm? Or are these deeper cracks that coaching can't fix? Drop your take below, because one way or another, Thursday night at MetLife is going to tell us exactly what kind of team we have in Philadelphia. And here's the thing, this isn't just another midseason matchup. This is a crossroads game for Philadelphia. Because if the Eagles come out flat again, if the offense sputters and the same mistakes pile up, then the questions around this coaching staff won't just be whispers anymore. They'll be roars echoing through every corner of the city. You can feel it in the tone of the fans, the tension in the locker room, even in the way the media's been dissecting every snap. The expectation here isn't to survive games, it's to dominate them. And against the New York Giants, a team that's been stumbling over its own feet all season, there are no excuses left. Let's talk about the offensive line, because as much as Kevin Patullo's play calling has been a problem, the guys up front have not been holding their ground the way they should. Against Denver, they gave up 6 sacks. 6! For a unit that's supposed to be one of the best in football, that's unacceptable. There were moments when Jalen Hurts had all the time in the world to throw, but far too often, the Broncos front just bullied them. That can't happen again, not when the Giants bring a front featuring Dexter Lawrence, a force in the middle, and Kayvon Thibodeau, who's been heating up off the edge. Add Brian Burns and Raheem Nunez-Roches to that mix, plus the athletic freak Abdul Carter, and suddenly this get-right game could turn ugly fast if the protection breaks down. Jordan Mailata has been steady, one of the few consistent bright spots, but Landon Dickerson, he's been rough all year, and a short week on turf might keep him sidelined. Cam Jurgens hasn't looked himself since his off-season back surgery, even after that big contract extension. Lane Johnson's been in and out of the lineup, and though he's still battling like the warrior he is, continuity has been an issue. Tyler Steen deserves credit. He's quietly been one of the more dependable pieces lately, but this group as a whole has to take control. Because when they do, the offense finds its heartbeat. When they don't, everything else crumbles. And then there's Saquon Barkley. You can see the frustration on his face every time he's standing on the sideline while another drive ends in a punt. This is a player who thrives on rhythm, who wears down defenses over 4 quarters, not someone you give 6 carries to in an entire game. 1 in the second half? That's criminal. The Giants' defense is giving up over 140 yards per game on the ground, 26th in the NFL. If Philadelphia doesn't feed Barkley early and often, they're basically handing the Giants a lifeline. This isn't about getting cute with the playbook. It's about imposing your will. The Eagles' offensive line loves to run block. That's their identity. You get them mauling downhill, you get Saquon in space, you control the clock, and suddenly Jalen Hurts looks like the MVP version of himself again. Everything starts with the ground game. But let's not ignore the mental side of this either, because right now, the Eagles are losing the battle between the ears. Week after week, we've seen penalties and mental lapses wipe out huge plays. Against Denver, A.J. Brown quit on a route that could have ended the game. Jahan Dotson forgot where the sideline was. Tyler Steen drifted too far downfield on an RPO. Saquon didn't get set before a snap, erasing what could have been a clutch fourth down conversion. These are avoidable mistakes, not talent problems, not bad luck. They're lapses in focus. Championship teams don't beat themselves. And right now, the Eagles are doing just that. The defense, to their credit, has been the saving grace. You can see the grit in that group. 9th best on third downs, 3rd best in the red zone, top half of the league in nearly every situational stat. They've been on the field too much, and yet they're still fighting. But fatigue has limits. You can't keep asking a defense to bail out an offense that's stuck in neutral. If this team truly wants to make a run, it starts with complementary football, giving that defense time to rest, giving Jalen Hurts time to lead, and giving the fans a reason to believe this roster is as special as it looks on paper. And when it comes to Jalen, look, the numbers tell a split story. Against man coverage, he's elite. Number 1 in completion rate, top 5 in passer rating. He destroys man looks. But against zone, it's a different picture entirely. Near the bottom of the league in accuracy, timing, and efficiency. That's not about arm strength. That's about anticipation, vision, and trust in the scheme. Great coaching gives a quarterback answers. Right now, Hurts is being left to find them on his own too often. If Patullo and this staff can't build better zone-beating concepts, more motion,